Hello, everybody. Due to some technical difficulties and my negligence, I'm doing a little bit of a makeshift method of this presentation through my phone onto the computer, whose microphone decided not to work today. So, this is the Renault family, and this is a very generic photo that I found online, just in case you guys are wondering. But Mr. Renault is 25, and he's going back to grad school to be a marriage and family therapist. His main job is a carpet cleaning company and his part time with the National Guard. So he's basically going to school part time and finishing all these things so that he can get a full time job. While Mrs. Renault, on the other hand, is 26. She works as a full time RN, which makes her the temporary breadwinner. And she still has time to take care of their beautiful daughter, Abish, who enjoys eating and running around the house. So, moving on with this family, their financial situation is such. Mr. Renault has just finished over a year of training with the Army, and that money will go towards grad school and help them stay in the green, meaning that they are debt free, which is said at the bottom there. They're both looking for a home to grow the family in over the next few years. Safety is big, but location close to work is also key. Not exactly sure if they'll stay up to 10 years, so schools are still a topic of discussion. And thanks to Mrs. Renault's job and Mr. Renault's part time work, they bring in around $7,458 a month, which allows them up to $1,864.50 a month for their mortgage. And like I said earlier, as of now, they don't plan on making any down payments, but that's going to change soon as we go on with this presentation, and they're debt free. Next. This is their dream home, something that they found that worked really good for them. A good home because of the abundance of space, good schools around it, location is right where they need it, and it makes transportation simple. It's listed at $350,000, which gives it a monthly payment of about $1,670 and 95 cents. Whereas on the other hand, their modest home is smaller but makes up for it in location, open and shared backyard, so it brings up concern for safety, not as much space, especially in the back area and the rooms and the square footage. But this townhouse is more like a stepping stone for the future and not really long term. It's listed at $289,900 with a monthly payment of $1,384 and 3 cents. So this is their monthly budget, which, calculating the 25% of their monthly income, it says that their max amount possible for a monthly mortgage is $1,864.50. And with all the following budgets that they have down there, they have room for everything that they need, especially miscellaneous and other expenses, as well as saving money for the long term and helping them plan for things in the future, such as building a adequate emergency fund or even saving for the down payment of this house, and etc. So this is their savings plan, emergency fund and a down payment. So I listed here in this top box their monthly income and what is needed for 3 times their monthly income and 6 times. And to fit their situation and circumstances best, they decided to go with a $24,000 emergency fund. And for their down payments for the home, their modest home, which seemed like the best fit for them, based off of a 3.5% down payment, 10 and 20%, they felt like the best option for them was to go somewhere below 10% at about $26,000, which, if you see the writing on the right side, it says that they decided what best for the family is 80% of the long-term savings from the previous budget will be used for the emergency fund, and they'll be paying that every single month. Same thing for saving for the down payment. They will use the short-term savings for the down payment, which will take 19.55 months. Then it will be combined, once that's finished, with the 80% of the long-term savings until the emergency fund is up. And with that, it'll take about 26 months. So essentially, what I'm doing here is taking what was given before in the budget section and calculating that so that they can afford an adequate down payment and at the same time have an emergency fund, two things that are important for them in just a little bit over 2 years. All right, on to credit scores and mortgage interest rates. So it says here that your credit score affects the interest rates you will receive for a given loan. So, vice versa, lower score means higher rates, higher monthly payments, and higher score means lower rates, lower monthly payments. So with this family starting off fairly new, they have a moderate and average credit score of about 600. And they decided, after a lot of careful study, to go with a 30-year loan at 4.875% for a monthly payment of $1,534.17 a month. And that meme is just for comic relief. Right here, it says that their tax liability without a home is about $39.21 even. But with their home, it's not much of a difference, a little bit of a modest difference, hence modest home is about $38.71. With the property tax being a little over $3,000 and the private mortgage insurance being about $194 a month or $28 annually. For transportation, lucky for them, the Renault family decided long ago to purchase a used car and pay it off ASAP. As a result, they own a 2005 Toyota Highlander that is paid off. All they pay for now is gas and maintenance, which makes their long-term debt payments for tithing only. No student debt because they paid their way through college, and the car is paid off, so that leaves, like I said earlier, tithing, which really helps them in that situation. So, for mortgage qualifications and PITI, I had to calculate the 36% of their gross income, which came out to about $26.84. And if you take their mortgage and everything, about $19,000 after you take into account their principal and interest along with taxes and different insurances, hence PITI, that add that to tithing, it gives you a total of about $2645.80, which puts them just barely under 36% of their gross income, which means that they qualify for this loan that they want to get on their home by the skin of their teeth. And also, if you were paying attention, you notice that this mortgage is a little bit higher after incorporating the taxes and the insurance, which makes it tough for them, but then they'll just have to manage that depending on how they want to move around their budget in order to fit this. And like it says on the right, the PITI, principal and interest, broke down here into its different $1,407, and then taxes $251, insurance $242. And sadly, after doing the calculations, it'll take about 25 years to pay the PMI with a 30-year loan, as mentioned earlier. And in case you can't see, that graph right there shows where I got my information from. Now the topic of renting versus buying. For all situations, renting, it's good because it's easy, it's inexpensive to move, flexible, you only pay one bill, and there's a low financial commitment. But with that comes a lack of stability, and there's no tax benefits, no deductions or anything, possibility of monthly rent to increase over time. But compared to buying, the pros are permanence, security, tax benefits as in deductions, and you can make modifications, whatever you want to do to the home. It gives you a sense of pride also in the fact that you own a home. But with that, the cons are low mobility, significant upfront costs, and depreciation. So simply, it costs a lot more to buy a house compared to just renting. So in the case of the Renault family, it may cost a lot more for them, but for their circumstances, it still is possible to buy a home. Mr. Renault will be graduated. He will be graduating in about 2 years. Sorry for the typo. And then income will increase dramatically as he works as a marriage and family therapist along with the National Guard. So he will drop his carpet cleaning part-time job for this marriage and family therapy, and that would drastically help their income. The home will allow them to expand their family. They also receive the deduction of the interest, which we saw was little, but still a difference. They are making more long term. They're thinking more long term, and it fits them in those regards. Now, with interest comparisons with the 30-year versus the 15-year, it's such a significant difference after doing the calculations. For a 15-year loan, you'd only be paying about $67,400 at the end of the loan extra. But with the 30-year loan on the modest house, the interest paid would be over $200,000. So we can see that's a significant difference, but because they could not fit or qualify for a 15-year loan based off of their income and circumstances, they had to go with a 30-year loan, which in the long run, if they decide to stay with it, that's going to be the amount of interest that they have to pay over time, which would be very tough for them, but that's just a circumstance that they have to deal with. The investment options with the dream house compared to their modest home is that it's about over time. If it went over the course of 30 years, the difference in appreciation from the dream home to the modest home would be about $300,000. So if we were to take this money and invest it in a diverse mutual fund or anything that worked best for you, that was safe, bonds or anything, but it would make more sense to buy a modest home. And it would be a better investment over the long run if they plan on staying longer. But as mentioned earlier, it might be temporal, but it really does depend on their family circumstances. But as of now, it is a better investment to start with something that's cheaper and invest the money in the difference overall. Oh, sorry about that. And here we go. The best housing option. After careful consideration, it is best for the Renault family to purchase the modest home. And even if they wanted to, on a side note, they wouldn't have been able to qualify for the loan needed for the dream home. The first few years will be tough for them as Mr. Renault is finishing grad school, but once he graduates and gets a full-time job, income will increase and they can decide what is best for them to do next. They could sell and try to buy the dream home, or use the extra money to invest and save, or in other words, to be frugal. So that is the presentation of the Renault family, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.